My name is Aaditi Lele, and I lead policy communications at Zero Hour, an international organization led by youth fighting for immediate climate justice. I helped co-found Zero Hour Ohio because no one else was bringing our voices to the halls of power. I now organize on our national team, advocating for climate justice legislation and working to end the fossil fuel economy. As someone who was born and raised in India until I was 8, I've seen the stories of mudslides and displacement and human suffering. And that's why I know this crisis isn't far away. It's already happening. And our most vulnerable, poor communities, disabled communities, communities of color, suffer first and worst. As the young people who have inherited this crisis, we are angry. As a generation that is living this crisis, we know that it is time to go full speed ahead and fight for our lives. And yet this court is taking us backwards. The decision in West Virginia v. EPA undermines our government's ability to act on the most pressing existential issue of our time. By curtailing efforts to reduce greenhouse gas pollution from coal and gas-fired power plants using the Clean Air Act, this court has become an opponent of our right to a livable future. There is no time to waste in the fight for our own lives, and we can't let the Supreme Court stand in our way. So often, our government has touted America's protections of life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. Just this past 4th of July, we were bombarded with messages of a perfect country, a model of freedom and liberty. And yet the highest court in our land is so far from this promise. It stole our right to reproductive health care, and now it has sided with the fossil fuel industry to threaten our chance at a livable planet. The Supreme Court's anti-regulatory majority is radically reshaping the law to protect polluters at the expense of our climate and our health. But there's a clear solution. The court must be reformed to restore its integrity. Fortunately, we're here to tell you that this court will by no means have the last word. We're not out of solutions. President Biden and Congress, now more than ever, this is the time to step up. The momentum is going in the right direction. President Biden recently followed through on People vs. Fossil Fuels movement demand to use the Defense Production Act to boost the manufacturing of renewable energy that serves workers in frontline impacted communities. The Supreme Court's decision is a reminder that we need President Biden to take stronger action on climate. That begins with declaring a climate emergency. It means stopping the federal approval of all new fossil fuel projects. And it means ending the leasing of our public lands and waters to fossil fuel companies that are polluting our land and sacrificing our health. And President Biden isn't the only one who can create change. We need Congress to take swift and explicit action for the climate crisis. While the Supreme Court blocked the EPA from carrying out programs under the Clean Air Act, it mandated that Congress must explicitly direct those federal agencies to carry out specific solutions. That's why we need Congress to pass a budget reconciliation bill that includes the full suite of climate investments that have already been approved by the House. It's why we need them to regulate emissions. It's why we need them to expand the Supreme Court. By making this decision, the Supreme Court hasn't just curtailed the power of the EPA. It has declared war on our ability to fight the most important crisis of our lives and enabled fossil fuel companies to continue to freely pollute the air. It has chosen fossil fuel corporations and profit over our health and our futures. And while this ruling is devastating for anyone who breathes air, it will have a disproportionate impact on Black and brown communities in the U.S., which bear the brunt of our air pollution. At Zero Hour, it's clear to us that this Supreme Court is extremist and no longer represents the will of the people. While they will try to make us believe that we've missed the chance to act on climate, it is now more essential than ever. We have the power to end fossil fuel leases and stop offshore drilling and fossil fuel exports and make a swift and just transition to clean energy. And if you're a young person like me who's tired of your government attacking your rights, tired of the climate anxiety and tired of having to worry about exams when your world is ending, this is the time to join Zero Hour. And if you're an adult that's tired of watching their kids fight for their lives, now is the time to join us.